Welcome to Construct Tech TV. Today I'm going to take you on a journey from the grid all the way up to aerial lifts. I will address passive houses, advances in aerial work platforms, blueprint for the electricity grid, what's next for the Hyperloop, and I will answer the question, how much does green really save? First, let's go inside passive houses. A passive house is a building that doesn't require constant heating and cooling. It does this through a unique set of design principles to maximize gains and minimize losses. Now, this includes continuous installation and airtight building envelope, a high-performance windows, balanced ventilation, and solar gain. According to the Passive House Institute, these homes consume 86% less energy for heating and 46% less energy for cooling. Now, of course, they cost roughly 5 to 10% more than conventional buildings, but the economies of scale are expected to drive down costs. Now, I want to make it clear, a passive house approach is not only for homes. It can be applied to any type of building, including skyscrapers. The Cornell Tech Passive House is a perfect example. It is a new 26-story residential tower. It is one of the largest buildings to date to meet the passive house criteria. And what's even more interesting is that this structure's HVAC system uses what is known as AeroSeal technology. Now, this is different from traditional duct sealing. Here is a little history on the sealing technology. It was invented by scientist Mark Modera at the University of California in 1994. The goal has been to seal the leaks and eliminate the air that leaks from inside of the ducts. The sealing equipment is connected to the ductwork with a long, flexible tube. Then sealant is blown into the duct interior, and it is automatically locates and seals the leaks. Passive houses also incorporate a super insulated building facade and an airtight building envelope. This keeps it warm in the winter and even cool in the summer. The PH design offers tremendous economic benefit for its residents. These savings are reflected in electricity bills, which makes it so exciting. I can't help but think passive houses are becoming iconic markers. Will you help build them? Aerial lifts and mobile elevating work platforms have replaced ladders and scaffolding on many job sites. The challenge is there are a number of hazards to consider. Now, this includes falls, tip-overs, collapses, electrical shock, and even objects falling from lifts. But now standards will heighten safety. Canada has already published its new regulations under the CSA group standards, and the United States is expected to publish its regulations this year under the ANSI standards. At its core, this will require machines to have technology built right into them. Now, this includes being able to monitor the load and built tilt and automatically cut operation if the maximum is exceeded. Many of the equipment manufacturers have already put the same technology in new equipment. Load sensing capabilities can ensure the weight limit isn't exceeded, something to look for on your next piece of equipment. The grid is changing, and it is going to impact how you as construction professionals build homes and buildings. Just check out what is happening in a new community being built in Arizona. It is serving as an example for the future of the electricity grid. This community is decentralized, decarbonized, and digitized. Got it? This community, the Mandalay Discovery Home, has been scientifically tested. It includes home sealing, energy-efficient loads and demand control, clean energy generation, and smart energy storage. It is also designed to create an intelligent carbon-neutral home. But here's where it gets really interesting. The whole community is capable of communicating with each other to form a hive of systems. But this is being branded as a Sonnen community, and it acts as an intelligent network of clean energy storage systems that collaborate to form a virtual power plant. This has the capability to interact with the precise needs of the electricity grid. The community can flatten the load curve, minimize grid stress, and reduce its carbon footprint. Now that's what you can call smart. Back on May 15th, I introduced you to the Hyperloop. Well, now the technology is both feasible and insurable. In the past year, a project team has been considering the risks and even challenges facing Hyperloop technology. A new report sheds light on both enterprise and technological risk. The report shows the technology is likely to be viable. However, Hyperloop will demand a rigorous and structured enterprise risk management framework. It also requires funding and will need to meet regulatory environments. So there are still challenges ahead before you will ride a Hyperloop anytime soon. But we do see Hyperloop transportation technologies expanding the boundaries of infrastructure and insurability. How much does green really save? A new report says twice as much energy as anticipated. The Masters Builders Association of King and Snohomish counties has a green building certification program called Build Green. The study by the association, Seattle's Department of Construction and Inspection, and Seattle City Light reveals certified homes used 40% less electricity than non-certified homes. This is twice as efficient as the association originally anticipated. The study also shows that certified homes save owners more than $500 per year in electricity bills. These homes also prevent more than half a ton of carbon emission per home. So green really does save. That's your tech update for today. Workers need to be prepared for potentially dangerous aspects of the job, and they need to know how to overcome them. Predictive analytics and pre-employment strength testing can make a big difference when it comes to safety in construction. Here to talk with me about it is Gary Laterovian, president of Horton Safety Consultants. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So Gary, let's talk about this. When we talk about the concept of predictive analytics used in safety, what does that really mean to the construction companies?
So for many years, safety people do safety observations and audits. Predictive analytics is the ability to take the information that we collect during those observations and audits and create a predictive modeling program.
When you look at that as a modeling program, is the idea ultimately to get more of a prescriptive result from that so that you can actually do something to prevent accidents in the future? Is that ultimately what we hope?
Absolutely. When you do safety observations and audits, many times you collect information that can be critical, but also at times collect information that is a little bit less than critical. What the predictive analytics platform allows you to do is to focus your limited resources on those hazards and issues that make the biggest difference.
Right now, we talk about this. There's so many accidents on the job site, and we don't want our workers to be hurt. One, it's costly. It results in delays. But we want our workers to go home to their families at night. And I talk about this a lot on the show. But what are we talking about? Are there ways to use these analytics to give them insights that most construction companies never realized by seeing these numbers, by seeing the data, so to speak?
Absolutely. Even just doing safety observations and audits is a huge deal, and not all contractors do that. But the bigger contractors who actually do safety observations and audits, they collect this data, they're able to use the predictive value of the information to focus on those biggest hazards.
So how do they integrate these predictive analytics that you're talking about into their processes?
So instead of using the blank sheet of paper approach or a checklist approach, the contractor would utilize, there's different predictive analytics programs. It usually installs on a portable device like a cell phone or a tablet. The information is collected in the field, but then it goes to a database where the predictive analytics algorithm actually makes the predictive values.
Are there companies out there that are providing this kind of tool, that software that helps them see these analytics right now? Are there a lot of them? Are there a few companies? What are we doing?
Handful of companies. We partnered with one in particular that's being used by many Fortune 100 companies.
And are they expensive? Can small companies use them? Are they really something that only the large companies are able to adapt to these?
Small companies could use them, but as a safety consulting firm, we've adopted the platform within our practice group so that when we go out and perform services of a safety consultant for the smaller contractors, we're collecting that predictive value in the data we collect.
So how long does it take to do this? Is this something it takes years to do? Are we months? I mean, how long does a construction company need to gather this type of information that you're talking about?
You do have to see enough job sites in order for the information to become valid. So the more inspections you do, the more people doing the inspections, the more legitimate the data becomes when you analyze it.
When you're analyzing this information and you're looking at it, does it really give you insights into seeing the kind of mistakes you're seeing at the job site that you say, okay, we're doing things wrong and now we've got to change the way we do things so that we can improve our processes in general? I mean, it's not necessarily people are deliberately making mistakes, because sometimes we see at job sites, people know they're supposed to do things a certain way, but now they're just not doing it. They're not continually, repeatedly doing the right things.
It focuses attention on the most critical issues. So when we make an observation, we identify the likelihood that something's going to happen and the severity of what could happen. And by focusing your attention on the most significant hazards that happen more often than others, you're able to prevent things from happening of a critical nature.
Does it bring up some legal issues that you have to be concerned about?
Well, certainly, if you collect data that demonstrates you have risk and you do nothing about it, you could be in some trouble.
Have you found some unique things over the years that you've done this, that you've brought the attention to some construction companies? Are there some examples that you can give that you say you've opened the eyes of some companies that said, wow, we really didn't know this was, a real problem for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people generally tend to think in terms that their sites are very safe.
Of course, we all think that, right?
Right, exactly. So when this data becomes available and you show it to the owner of the company, it's eye-opening.
And that's interesting, because when we look at this, most construction companies think they're doing the right things. But are there times when they look at analytics, we all say it's hard to gather because sometimes data is overwhelming. But when you're collecting it and we say, what is this information? And the question that I was asking is how long it takes. Again, is it months to gather? Are we talking, so a company looks at this and says, how long? What are we really talking about? That's the real critical aspect. Or we don't know because each company is different.
So we've been invested in this technology for about a year. We see many different types of contractors in our practice. So we are just about the point where we've collected enough data within a broad range of contractors to be able to make some valid perceptions, valid recommendations.
So when you collect it, can you make an assessment through the industry overall?
Yes.
So that's what you have. So you've gathered information, you assess companies. Do you assess them based on the size of them, based on a subcontractor, based on a GC, residential, commercial? Are there some projections or information that you can say, looking out at the industry, that you can say this is something you need to do and these are changes the industry needs to make?
Absolutely, because when we code our system, we identify the type of subcontractor that they are. So we're able to develop industry insights. So when we take on a mechanical contractor as a new client, we have information stored in the system for other mechanical contractors, so their data becomes valid more quickly as we.
So you're constantly. So I understand this. You're constantly feeding the information in. Is
Yes.
what you're doing. It's not just one time. So the industry understands, and that's what I'm trying to get at. You're constantly feeding the data in to basically understand what the industry needs to do.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you, Gary, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. Gary Glader, he's the president of Horton Safety Consultants. Thank you so much for joining us today. And don't forget, we'd like you to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And that's our Safety Zone for today. combination of ideas and technology are essential to staying competitive within the construction industry. Today on Someone You Should Know, I wanted to highlight a company that is making all the right moves through innovative thinking. Gary Laterovian, founder and CEO of Capnovate Construction, is here to tell us exactly how his company is doing it. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Peggy. Glad to be here.
So Gary, tell me a little bit about your company that you and your brother are doing right now and the renovations that you're doing.
So our company is roughly about 3 years old. My brother and I started it seeing the momentum in real estate and seeing everybody flip homes. So we're very eager to do the same thing. So we got into the construction. My brother usually is on the field more often, and I am in more of the admin portion in the background. So we have that great synergy set up together. And what we're seeing is a lot of these companies, as far as construction goes, they do need that administrative portion along with the outside, like project management portion. But we are gaining so much momentum in the area now. We are currently very busy with 12 projects and just growing at an enormous pace.
And it's interesting because construction is experiencing a little bit of a boom right now. So
Yes.
You guys are two brothers. I'm sure you guys at times get compared to the TV Two Brothers, right? So you guys are going, you're in your own world, right? You don't want to say that you're the Property Brothers of New Jersey,
Correct.
but what are you guys doing out there right now and looking at this space? You just acquired, I think, a drywall company, is that right? Or what are you guys doing there? I mean, so you're doing a lot of different things and you look at innovation a little differently, right?
Right. So my goal is to set up a construction company that has multiple divisions and different facets. So we in-housed our dumpster division. We in-housed now our drywall division, also insulation. And what that gives us the opportunity to scale and to meet customer demand. A lot of these contractors outside, they go out there and they're GCing it. So they're calling their subs, hoping that they would come on the project. But now, since we in-housed all that, we are the subs. It's all us. So that's where innovation comes in. And everything is ran very electronically. It's a cloud-based systems that we use. So everyone is dispatched, they know where to go. Everything happens systematically.
So
And that's what we...
have you
Go ahead.
invested, are you saying you've invested in technology, you invested in the manpower? What do you think is your great success right now besides working side by side with your brother?
Right. So investing in technology is huge. I'm a very fond believer of processes and being very system-oriented. So we have few project management softwares that we use, along with a whole job costing software that goes on to the divisions that we acquire. So, i.e., the installation and drywall division, he was actually one of our biggest subcontractors. We used them extensively for all our drywall and installation. And then a conversation struck and said, I told him, I said, Jose, would you mind growing your business to the next level? And he goes, how? I said, why don't you partner up with me? Let's create some kind of joint venture agreement. So I bought him out, I bought his other partners out, and I kept him on the books as an employee and an equity partner. That way he has all his might into this. And from that end, we've been growing on a quarterly basis about 35 to 40% quarter-on-quarter growth.
So do you think this unique approach is the way the construction industry needs to look at construction now? It's not just about building, it's about how you look at the market differently?
100%, and that's what we're seeing. So a lot of our jobs that we're acquiring from customers when we go and bid, we're the fourth or fifth contractor in the door. Now, in my mind, they should have already accepted a bid based upon the pricing they received out of four contractors. I would think so, but when we go into the door, let's say the last ones to give the bid, or they're calling the last contractor to get in the door, it's us. They're seeing the young personality come in. They're seeing us showing them what we can offer as far as project management softwares. They could look at their house while it's being constructed from a third-party software, so they don't even have to be home. They know what's going on with their house. So they love all those features. And what we're seeing in construction is a lot of a younger crowd, people, 30s to 40s, newly married, they're buying a foreclosed home, and they're going in and reconstructing the whole house. Now, if they see a younger, agile contractor come in and employ these kind of technologies, change the landscape of construction, they're all in. They don't even negotiate pricing anymore with us. They want us to do the job.
So is it the idea that you're taking this young, aggressive, lean, innovative approach and combining it all and saying, look, we can reinvent the way construction is by thinking agile?
Totally, totally. That's exactly what we are doing. And with that, the great feature is we have our internal divisions that will be able to attain the growth that we're going to be acquiring quarter over quarter with all our divisions. So definitely huge change in the market. It's a younger crowd. It's a younger vision. It's no longer that older man that has all this knowledge. And the way I say it to my assistant too, it's no longer that older man that comes in with a cigarette hanging from his mouth, his boots are ripped up, his jeans are all over the place saying, hey, I'm your contractor. It's no longer that. It's a whole different paradigm. It's a total shift. And we're seeing it because we're in it.
So what we have now, though, is where we have this worker shortage in construction, you're able to get this new revitalized industry showing that there could be this new generation of construction companies finding new life because of the way you're thinking about it. And we see these new shows on TV saying how you can renovate. You're showing that you can bring new life into new homes.
Absolutely, 110%. I concur. In regards to bringing new life into homes, that's what we love to do. So my brother is very passionate. He's the one that's out there with the framers, with the nail gun, framing with them, with all his might. He loves it. I'm the guy that goes in the background and says, okay, this is the project, we implement the project, and we move forward. I think with that synergy, to have the whole administrative staff, to run the back end and the front end, to control it with my brother, it's an unbeatable team. And that's why we're growing so aggressively, is that you need somebody in the field. And it's absolutely necessary for somebody to be in the back end, which is the admin portion. And that's what most contractors lack. They don't get their estimates on time to the people. Change orders don't come in on time. If there's any issues, it's not resolved then and there because they would have to go back to the job, think about what to do. I mean, we have this down pat. If anything comes up, an issue, we tackle the issue, we come up with a change order, it's sent to the client accepts it all electronically, and the project is completed.
Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate all your time.
Awesome. Thank you again. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, there you have it. Capnovate Construction. There is someone you should know right here on Construct Tech TV. Thank you again.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
The U.S. electrical infrastructure is aging. The power grid is becoming so vulnerable to attacks, and quite frankly, it is costing the United States a lot of money. And it is time something is done. Today, I thought I'd give you an inside look into research that is being done at Purdue University to help solve this problem. Now, it is working on minimizing risks associated with power outages caused by severe weather events. Now, the team's research suggests severe weather events accounted for 50% of power outages. Additionally, it suggests electrical outages have cost the U.S. economy between $20 and $55 billion between 2003 and 2012. Now, that's a pretty hefty price tag if you think about it as a result of weather outages. The good news is the project seeks to develop a transformative decision support system. Now, here's what they thought. They can use algorithm-based new risk assessment models that will better link outages and the impact. Now, these models will estimate the economic losses and optimization techniques that will determine the best strategies for improving electrical infrastructure. Now, the project is currently examining some regional case studies. It is also intended to bring about an understanding of the system as well as improvements. Now, it will also integrate expertise from the infrastructure management, risk analysis, sustainability, energy economics, and policy analysis. The hope is that the outcome of this research will help regulators make informed decisions related to the approval of capital investments, and that it will better design performance metrics to enhance the resilience of the country's power grid. I really like the research that is being done here. Something needs to happen to improve the U.S. electrical infrastructure. This is really the first step in the right direction, and I am so looking forward to seeing what will come of this research in the near future. Now that's your innovation and technology for today. Welcome to Got a Tool. Many of you recall the segment I did a few months back on the silica mandate on our safety zone. The passing of the silica mandate ensures workers are not breathing in harmful dust particles when cutting materials. There are many ways to do this. One is looking at a dust extraction system which reduces airborne dust. So for Got a Tool today, I thought we would try one out. So here's what I have is the Bosch Vac. It's the 0908 dust extractor to help capture all the particles. So let's take a look. This extractor features a 9.85-foot vacuum hose along with a power tool adapter nozzle. Here, workers plug in tools directly into the vacuum without the need of an additional extension cord. This allows workers to sync their tools to switch the vacuum on and off. A power broker dial ensures that when tools are connected, power is allocated evenly between the tool and the vacuum. This extractor isn't what you'd say your father's old shop vac that barely picks up anything anymore. This actually comes with an automatic filter system that cleans the filter every 15 seconds to ensure maximum suction. To ensure workers can use it, whatever they are working on, the extractor is capable of wet and dry pickup. When extracting wet materials, a water level sensor will shut down when the vacuum automatically to protect damage to the motor. Now let's see how this actually held up to our test. As you can see, when we cut the concrete with and without the extractor, there was a drastic difference in what was left behind. The extractor was able to capture all the silica dust that was swirling about. When cutting without it, we were left with quite a dusty mess. So, when the dust all settles, this just might be the option for your next job site. That's your Got a Tool for today. On today's Learn It, I would like to give you my top predictions for 2018 and beyond. Now, all the analysts will give you a list of emerging technologies that will disrupt business. They'll give you drones, AR, VR, AI, robotics, the Internet of Things, and that's certainly all true. But I wanted to take a different approach on this segment. Instead of giving you a list of the top technologies to keep an eye on, I thought I would give you the top 3 areas in your business that you should reinvent in 2018. This is all based on feedback that you have given me all year long. These are the key areas where contractors, as you are, should focus your attention on the year ahead. Now, the first area, of course, that we always talk about is safety. In construction today, it is all about safety, safety, safety. It's no longer about location, location, location. So today, we need to keep all of your workers safe. While your companies and families desire it, the financial side is being driven by the insurance companies. It goes without saying that safety is paramount to construction firms, perhaps more than anything else. And today's technology is going to be the tool that'll help make your job site and all of your employees safe. So this includes predictive analytics and perhaps even more importantly, prescriptive analytics, wearables, and worker monitoring. Now there's a lot of early adopter case studies out there, and I'm sure you can find them. But I believe all of these solutions will become the norm in the year ahead to create a safer and more productive job site. Besides doing the right thing, it improves the bottom line by as much as 20 to 40% per year, according to OSHA. Now, this can be the difference between operating in the black and bleeding red. Now, think about that. And who wants to do that? So what is the biggest stumbling block holding your widespread adoption, or I should say, of technology in your operation? So let's be honest. It's all about your workers. Your workers are going to complain and giving some pushback if you are using technology to track their whereabouts to improve safety. People don't want Big Brother watching their every move. People really fear what they really don't understand. Others will embrace it like a warm blanket. The key is to set a policy guideline that is simple. It must be a program that employees can respect. In short order, workers will begin to see that it does, in fact, improve safety. The culture will shift. Some technology that you might want to consider, connected hard hats. We've talked so much about them in the past. When they first emerged, workers were reluctant, but now they are commonplace on most job sites. In fact, they probably are on every job site. The good news is that the price tag has come down, making them affordable and even commonplace. So that's my prediction, my first one, it's safety. Now the next area we should talk about is green. What does green really mean? Green construction means that a building or home uses less overall energy. It conserves renewable resources. It contains fewer toxic materials. It means the initial construction cost might be higher, and it means longer-term energy savings over the life of the building. Green Build just passed, so as you can suspect, there is a lot of hype in the news right now all about green building. Programs are popping up all over the country. They are truly impacting emerging in energy efficiency. Green is good for your pocketbook. Green is good for the environment. Green is good for health. Green is good for business. It is especially true on residential construction. It will impact commercial as well. But first, let's talk about the residential industry. Home builders want connectivity and convenience in their homes that you're building. Home automation is providing all of the buyers with the access and control of their homes. But it goes even deeper than this. As builders, you can also benefit from going green. There are a number of incentives and marketing advantages to putting these technologies in your homes. But you are also doing the right thing for the communities that you're building. Now let's look at the commercial side. It's all about making buildings more efficient. Today, roughly 70% of all buildings in the United States are grossly inefficient, but technology can help. Building controls and automation can improve how a facility operates and performs. So that is the second way that I see business is changing in the year ahead. Now, the final and perhaps most important area you should focus on in all of your energy in the year ahead is collaboration. When people work together, good things happen. In today's construction environment, workers are forced to be in different locations. Thus, there's a greater need to bring people together to make a difference. There's a different technologies that we see already. We've talked about virtual and augmented reality, BIM caves, data walls, smart labs, huddle walls, 3D modeling, I can go on, design thinking, virtual conferences, whiteboards, and so much more. But if you're going to focus your energy anywhere in the year ahead, here is where you can start your search. We need to engage people differently. In fact, from a design thinking perspective, we need to engage people really uniquely. Think cross-pollination to create critical outcomes. The end result is productive, creative output. Now that's your Learn It for today.
This episode of Construct Tech TV is brought to you by Jamf Now.
Today's word of the day, or should I say phrase of the day, is Integrated Project Delivery, otherwise known as IPD. Simply, this is a contractual agreement. More specifically, it is a collaborative project delivery approach. It uses the talents and insights of all the project participants from the very beginning stages of the project. Coming together early allows the major players to develop a greater understanding of a project. This results in architects and contractors that are able to work together to make critical decisions. At its core, the culture of a project transforms into a more collaborative one. Now, this can look different for all types of projects. Some teams physically co-locate members of the design and construction team. Others simply leverage technology. Often, building information modeling, otherwise known as BIM, can help enable an integrated team. It can help detect clashes. It can also enable that collaboration that is so needed on these types of projects. Now, there are 3 levels of integrated project delivery that I want to talk to you about. First, there's transitional forms that are modeled after existing construction manager agreements, and it is a good first step into IPD. Multi-party agreements are a single agreement that the parties can use to design and construct a project using IPD. Finally is a single-purpose entity. This creates a limited liability company for the purposes of planning, a design, and construction of a project. This allows for a complete sharing of risk and reward and a fully integrated collaborative process. So many unique ways to kind of collaborate and integrate. Integrated Project Delivery, or IPD. That is your phrase of the day. And thanks for watching Construct Tech TV, where we are talking tech at the job site.
Jamf now helps businesses manage Apple devices in the workplace. Jamf now makes managing and securing every work iPhone, iPad, and Mac easier than ever. See the power of Jamf now for yourself. Create an account today at jamf.com/constructtech. Start managing your first 3 devices for free. That's jamf.com/constructtech.